Will Star Trek 4, the new Star Trek J.J. Abrams movie, be loosely based on the Undiscovered Country? Welcome to Sidetrack, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So, as we know, the new Star Trek movie has been announced. We're going to see another Star Trek movie from the J.J. Abrams Kelvin timeline. Now,
maneuvering thrusters, Mr. Sulu.
Thrusters on standby.
Take us out.
Aye, aye, Captain.
I think that the J.J. Abrams films are very entertaining. I think they're beautifully made. I think they're good action movies. I think they're quite funny in places. But they're not Star Trek. They're not even really very good sci-fi in places because, you know, the science fiction, the science part is still quite important. Go back and look at the videos though where I've talked about that in detail. But what about this idea that this movie is going to be based loosely on the Undiscovered Country? Now, this has come to me from sources that have worked on the preliminary artwork for the movie. They haven't seen the script, but they have seen some of the concept art and things. They've actually worked on it, so they have seen a general gist of where they think the story is going. Also, this person that I have spoken to has actually worked on previous movies, and he actually told me that the idea always has been, with these films, except the first one, to loosely base these J.J. Abrams movies on other Star Trek films. Now, when he told me that, I went, huh? But obviously, Into Darkness is very clearly a little bit of a remake of The Wrath of Khan. It was loosely inspired by it. They brought a couple of characters back, they took certain elements of the story, but then they created a new movie based around those few little threads. Now, Star Trek Beyond, according to this source, was loosely also based on a couple of Star Trek movies. Now then I really went, huh? But he basically said they took elements from The Search for Spock, particularly in the way the Enterprise was destroyed. That was supposed to be reminiscent from elements of The Search for Spock. They also, though, took elements of The Final Frontier and merged those or used those as starting points when they wrote the story. Now, I think they took those few ideas and then went woo off in completely different directions. But kind of, you can see that with Into Darkness as well, though, to be fair, that they took a nugget from the original movie and just went and used it as inspiration and then just created a whole new film.
In range? Not yet, sir.
Come on, come on.
She'll fly apart. Fly her apart, then.
According to my source, J.J. Abrams wanted to do this from the beginning. He said he wanted to take elements from the Star Trek movie and the Star Trek franchises, taking elements from the original canon, but then using that to inspire them to create something completely new. So that it would feel like Star Trek, but not be a remake, not be a reboot. It would be something still new. Now, he's definitely done that. I'm not going to argue with it. But why would they then not make The Voyage Home? Well, my source says it's because Picard just did that. Series 2 of Picard very much felt like, in elements, The Voyage Home. Yes, we didn't have any whales jumping around, but you could argue we had the Borg and that whole bit, and then that was sort of a bit reminiscent of that idea, the Borg coming through and there being this enemy and this rift. If you do like the content, by the way, guys, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Consider sharing the video wherever the hell you like and hitting that like. Don't hit the down. That doesn't help anybody. Also, consider becoming a fully fledged sidetracker and hitting the join button. All these little things, they really help me to keep the channel going and earn those few little pennies that basically means the wife will let me keep doing it. Again, if you're a regular sidetracker, you might know The Undiscovered Country is my favourite Star Trek movie from the original cast. It's my favourite Star Trek movie because my mum watches these videos, so sorry. I skived off school and went and watched it at the cinema. I watched it on my own in the cinema on a weekday afternoon. It was the first Star Trek movie I ever got to see at the cinema, and it made an impact on me because of that. I just love the starting sequence, bum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum, Praxis exploding, and at the end is a bit weak, but for me it's my favourite original cast Star Trek movie. I would love them to bring elements of that back. But also, there are reasons on a more political worldwide scale on why actually this movie might have relevance at the moment. That film was not very subtly about the Cold War and the collapse of the Cold War and the collapse of the Berlin Wall, the collapse of the Soviet Union. The Klingons in this respect are the Soviet Union. They're in collapse. Their economy has been completely destroyed, and they're like a bit of an animal backed into a corner. They're most at risk. They were looking at the Federation and looking at peace. But elements within the Klingon Empire didn't want that. Elements within the Federation didn't want that.
Oh, now be honest, Captain. Warrior to warrior. You do prefer it this way, don't you? As it was meant to be. No peace in our time.
In the last few years, the Cold War has sort of got warm again. We do not have a good relationship with our friends, comrades in the East. Obviously, there's the conflict in the Ukraine, which I think could again become quite a big part of this new movie, or used as a metaphor for this new movie. I think if this movie is done right, and it is done in the way that I imagine it, it could become relevant to the current situation between East and West. Matt Shakman is going to be directing this movie, and he is just coming off the back of the success of Marvel's WandaVision, a series that has been generally applauded for its style. Even though I found the first couple of episodes quite boring, it was cleverly done, and the director was a big part of that. The script has been rewritten a few times, because this movie was actually supposedly supposed to be made a few years ago, but following the back of Beyond not doing very well at all, it got shelved. But now Paramount Plus are really pushing for this again, and the director actually says all the evidence suggests people desperately want to see it. And to be fair, it's had a lot of clicks on since the green lighting was accidentally released, even before the actors knew that the film was coming back. We all did. I love that. It doesn't happen very often, but actually talking to actors, I have been told that actually these things do happen quite a lot, that movies are released and they actually don't know that it's about to be happen, but then they just release it to the general public, and the publicists, they don't bother actually telling the actors first. I'm like, I might be busy that day, but they just don't do that. So yeah, this is something that I am excited about. It is a shame that one or two actors won't be returning. The actor that played Chekhov was one of my favourites, and it's really sad that he won't be returning. But it looks like all the other actors will. We are getting the whole cast back together. So, hey, good films. Not Star Trek, but I'm still excited to see it. Get in the comments, please, guys, and tell me what you think. Is this a project you are looking forward to? They are always beautifully made, so at very least we've got that, right? Tell me what you think. Also, if you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It really helps us out. Thumbs up, thumbs down helps nobody. Also, if you like the content that I make for you, consider becoming a fully fledged sci trekker. It really helps us out. Hit the join button. As always, please stay safe. I'll see you next time.